Hello all my spooktacular friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Halloween and I am super excited to finally be making a video. I swear October was like the worst month for me, but here we are, we're back, and I have a few stories, scary stories from some of my subscribers that they have asked me to read, and that is what this video is going to be today. So go and get yourself some Halloween candy, some hot cocoa, coffee if you're into the coffee thing, tea, I don't care. Come on and settle in and let's talk about some scary things here. Savannah Peth actually was the person who requested that I make this video, and so girl, I'm sorry it has taken me so long to get to this, but here we are, and her story is first. Okay, so her story is, night I was laying in bed about to fall asleep, like a deep sleep, and all of a sudden I hear this really loud bang, and I jumped and I looked around. Nothing was there. I went to look and see if my parents were up. They were sound asleep, as well as my dogs. Those dang dogs, you know. So then I just tried to fall back asleep. About 20 minutes later, I was still up because I couldn't sleep, and I heard someone like whispering in my ear. What the hell? Like, for reals? Somebody whispering in your ear? What do you do at that point? Like, when someone's whispering in your ear when you're laying in bed? That would be the most terrifying experience. I was too scared to look, and I don't blame you. And I had this closet that was like an attic. When you look inside, there was no light. Like, when we first moved in, I told my mom and said, I need a light for my closet. And she looked in the closet and said, okay, because she couldn't find a light either. So then all of a sudden, a bright light was blaring. I could see it in the crack of the door in your closet that had no light. Oh my gosh, that is terrifying. She says, believe me or not, the next night the door slowly creaked open, and I thought I had seen a hand like coming out. Oh my gosh. Like, what did you do, Savannah? Did you run away? Like, did you get out of bed? Did you scream? Like, what did you do? That is so flippin' scary. My gosh, I can't even believe that. I do believe you, but oh my gosh, that is so scary. All right. So this story is from Emma, and she says, about 3 to 4 years ago, something happened that I still cannot quite explain. I was headed to bed one night, that's when it always starts, and everything in my room seemed completely normal. Also, how it starts. Everything was placed where it belongs. My fan was on. Everything was just fine. I went to bed and it was like midnight, so a typical time for a teenager to go to bed. I can attest to that. As soon as I hit my bed though, I was out cold. Randomly, in the middle of the night, I woke up. Those are the worst. My eyes shot open and all I could see was a white light flash in front of my eyes. What is with you guys and the lights? What? That is creepy. And as soon as the light left, I immediately fell back asleep. There was no sound to wake me up. I just randomly shot my eyes open. Well, when I got up around 7 or 8, I peeled open my eyes because they were bloodshot and stinging. And when I looked around my room, it was a complete disaster. My room at the time had signs of different quotes and things on every wall, and every single one of them was flipped upside down. What? That is so flippin' scary. My garbage that was sitting next to my vanity/desk was strewn throughout the entire room. Everything on my bookshelf was laid on the floor. I was freaked out. I got up and I ran upstairs and didn't go back to my room for hours. I wouldn't either. Finally, when I decided to go back down, I of course had to fix everything, and the entire time I just remember the weight in the room. Yeah. It was so heavy that you didn't want to stay in there for long periods of time. I still don't quite understand what exactly happened that night, but that's one paranormal event that has always been carried with me. No kidding. That would be so flippin' scary. Like, how do you explain something like that? Every single sign in your room flipped upside down and there's garbage everywhere. That's probably not a good sign. I hope that things over at your house is stop being so crazy. You never talk about it, so there's that. The next story that I have here is from my good friend Adrienne, and she wrote several stories for me, but I'm only going to read one just because, you know, editing time and whatever. But this is, I'm just going to read the first one on the page, and this is the story about a man who she thought was her grandpa. So that's kind of interesting. So she says, when I was little, about 4 years old, I remember you when you were 4 years old, I thought my grandpa was working on the stairs because I saw a man come up the stairs with a train/carpenter outfit on. That's a weird outfit. And the man smiled at me and talked to me. I thought this man was pretty cool. And then I asked Gramps if he had been working on the stairs. And he said, no, I haven't been working on the stairs. In my 4-year-old mind, I knew that the man was a ghost, and he was probably a nice ghost. And he probably was, if he comes in his cute little outfits and to say hello to you. Thank you, Rennie, for giving me a story that's so sweet. This next story is from my good friend Courtney, and she says that these are true stories. She only gave me one, but I'm sure she's going to give me more. But this takes place here in Wyoming, where we live, and this is what she has to say. So it says, in 1999, I had a dream about my grandmother's funeral, and 17 years later, I can still recall every detail. At the time of my dream, my grandma was still alive, and I would like to note that I had never even attended a funeral before. 1999, we were what, like second graders? Yeah, that's kind of early for somebody to go to a funeral anyways. So I was only 7 years old, and most of my family was still in good health. Yeah, like you just said. If you were to ask why the idea of a funeral or any other morbid type of dream would pop into my head, I don't think I could give you an answer. I was a very happy child, and I was never exposed to anything such as death aside from hunting and fishing, which is a huge deal here in Wyoming. In the dream, the setting was a brown funeral home, and as you walk in, you had the chapel to the left and the business side to the right. The room I chose to see in the dream was the chapel to the left of the main entrance. As I walked in, I was surrounded by vaulted ceilings, brown walls, and about 20 or 30 pews with orange-tinted fabric facing toward the front of the room. The front of the room had a series of huge windows peering out toward the Wind River Mountains. Right in front of the windows at the front of the chapel was my grandmother lying motionless in an open casket. That's kind of a very heavy dream for somebody of 7 years old to have. That's kind of scary. Her skin was pale, and her hands was carefully placed one over the top, resting on her lower abdomen. Her head was positioned to the left of the room, and she was surrounded by colorful flowers. My grandma and I were the only two people in the chapel room, and I can imagine the dream just as it was, a picture captured in my mind. When my grandmother actually did pass away in August of 2009, my family and I attended her funeral as one would expect. When we pulled up to the funeral home and walked into the main entrance, I oddly knew where she was going to be. That is so crazy. I took a left into the chapel, and just as I had seen it in my dream, my grandmother was lying in her open casket with her pale face and folded hands. The flowers were surrounding her, and everything in the room looked just as it did in my dream. I remember getting the feeling of deja vu, like I had been there before, but that was the first time I had ever stepped foot in that funeral home. I then recalled my dream. That is so, wow. I then recalled my dream that I had, and it came back to me, vivid details and all. I never had a spooked feeling about all of this, and I never did come to a conclusion on why I essentially had a premonition about her funeral. All I know is that my family has always had a sort of sixth sense, and maybe it was passed down to me as well. Well, it sounds like it certainly did. That is so crazy though. Like, I have had premonitions before, and they are very, very different, and it's hard to explain to other people, and people have a hard time believing you. But when you have an experience so vivid like that, like, there's no way, I don't know, it's just so different. And thank you for sharing that story with me. That is so very cool and bizarre, and I wish I could have more experiences like that. Do you guys ever wish that you could have cooler experiences like that? I don't know. I guess it's just me. Maybe it's not. I'm just assuming. Anyways, so here we go. This is the story that my friend Amanda told me that I should tell here on my channel, and in lieu of Halloween, this is probably one of the scariest stories that I have, and I wrote it down, and I hope that I got all the details. I'm not sure, but I'm sure if I didn't, Amanda will set me straight because she's just an awesome friend like that. So here we go. When we were about 16 or 17, most likely 16 because we were crazy about driving, we had a slight obsession with a small sort of picnic ground place that was just on the outskirts of town. Those of you in my town, you should know what I'm talking about. We would drive around out there at night, usually with our windows down, and for fun we would, I'm sorry, I wrote this with my handwriting. Okay. And for fun we would hold our hands out the window as if almost beckoning to spirits or whatever was out there. That is just so crazy that we used to do that. And we would do that to try to get things to like follow us. I don't know. It's so stupid. My 16-year-old self is just dumb. The thought of doing this now actually really does scare me. So, yeah. We only did this as a way to creep ourselves out because I don't think anyone truly believed that there was anything out there, although there had been many stories of things that happened out there. I suppose this story is not going to be any exception. On this particular night, however, it was snowing and it was cold, and it must have been the end of October or November, usually when it starts snowing around here in Wyoming. And the time frame is kind of iffy here, so it's hard to say. But it was definitely cold outside. And we were on our routine driving route, and we found ourselves driving through this area at night, as we always do. Only this time we didn't have our hands out the windows because it's flippin' cold in Wyoming. So we drove through the trees, and we were laughing and talking as usual, and Amanda pointed out that she had saw something running through the woods, which was not uncommon for us to see down there. So Amanda really does have a firm belief in Wendigos, and she swears that's what it was. And after experiencing this with her, I cannot say that that's not what it was, but I don't want to say that's what it was for sure. But I don't know, I'll leave that up to your guys' interpretation. So anyways, when we were nearing, whoa, bitch. This thing squirted at me and it scared me. The fact that I got that on camera though is so funny. Anyways, so we were nearing the last corner, and I too saw something kind of dash through the trees, and it definitely did not look like any sort of creature I had ever seen before. This creature was super tall, and it was black, and it had a white face that was almost skeletal looking. Actually, it was skeletal looking, but it like had a long snout. It was scary, okay? We'll just leave it at that. And its bottom jaw was open, like hanging down, and its teeth looked kind of sharp. It was pretty vivid, and it was very scary. I began to get really scared because when you are seeing something like that, you're terrified. I guarantee it, you will be scared if you ever saw something like that. And so I told Amanda to hurry up and get the hell out of there. Like, literally, I was like, step on it, girl. Like, let's go. So she did. And she kept asking me. She's like, what's going on? What happened? You know, what did you see? And I was like, just go, just go. And I didn't want to tell her because I was just so terrified. And I kind of really got that feeling, though, that it was following us out of there. Like, have you ever had that feeling where you are being chased? That is what I felt, and it was terrifying. I did not like it. So I didn't want to acknowledge it because I believe, like, when you acknowledge things like that you actually give them more power. So I was just like, you know, we'll just ignore it. Hopefully it'll go away, whatever, right? Wrong. We finally got out of the trees. We got out of the picnic grounds. We got back onto the main roads, and we were silent. Like, we did not talk really about anything, and we finally get down to McDonald's, which is pretty far away from this place. And Amanda's like, okay, girl, you've got to tell me, what the heck did you see out there? I was like getting ready to tell her, and I looked out the window, and like our window had kind of been frosted over a little bit, like you know how windows do in the winter time. It kind of got frosty. Well, I looked out the window, and in the window it was etched, like the picture of this thing that I saw in the woods was like drawn into the ice on the window. And I immediately, like, I started crying because I was so scared. And I told Amanda, I was like, that's what I saw right there, that's it. And she's like, what? And she's like looking at it, and she was like, what the hell? So we like wiped it off the window, like kind of made the ice defrost a little bit, and yeah, we never saw anything like that again. I had never experienced anything like that again, but it definitely made me change my ways. I have not driven down there with my hands out the window ever again. Like, I have never tried to do anything like that. I still go down there. I still like drive down there at night. It's fun. I still enjoy that. But I have never had any other experience like that, and I don't think she has either. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is the story that Amanda suggested that I tell, and I'm glad she did. But that was a really, really scary experience for me. Thank you guys for watching my channel. I'm so sorry I've been MIA this month. Hopefully next month will be better. Plus, next month is Food Month for Americans. So, you know, we're gonna get down with the celebrity eats and all kinds of other treats. You know, I love cooking, but I also would like to do some more story times. So if you have any suggestions about story times that you want to hear, go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're a bitch like that. I don't care. And then, yeah, I will see you guys soon. Hopefully. I'm so sorry that I've been gone. I will do so much better, I promise. And I will see you guys later. Bye guys. Happy Halloween. Woo. Party. Winnie, don't you want to party? My dog does not want to party with me, and it makes me so sad. Why? Teenage angst.